Colorado's quarterback chaos and Houston heartbreak. Deion Sanders faces his toughest test yet. The storm hits Boulder. For the second week in a row, Colorado football is the talk of the college football world, but for all the wrong reasons. What should have been a showcase of Deion Sanders' rebuilding project turned into a public autopsy of a team suddenly spiraling. Colorado's 36-20 loss to Houston was more than just a setback. It was a full-scale warning siren. Quarterback Ryan Staub, who was handed the reins after a chaotic rotation in Week 2, had his chance to silence critics and lock down the starting job. Instead, he stumbled through a night that was equal parts promise and pain, finishing 19 of 35 for 204 yards, a lone touchdown, and 2 back-breaking interceptions. The Buffaloes, once within 2 points at halftime, were steamrolled in the second half, gaining a measly 5 yards across their first 4 drives after the break. And the football world took notice. ESPN's Adam Rittenberg summed up the mood with a tongue-in-cheek post on X. Who will play quarterback for Colorado next week? It wasn't just a joke. It was a jab at a program that looks no closer to answering the most important question in football. Who should be under center? QB carousel. From Shedeur to Staub. When Shedeur Sanders left for the NFL, the expectation was clear. Colorado would endure some growing pains but eventually settle on a successor capable of continuing the program's momentum. Deion Sanders quickly named former Liberty star Kaidon Salter as the starter, but that plan imploded almost immediately. In Week 2 against Delaware, Salter's early struggles opened the door to 5-star freshman Julian Lewis, who got his brief chance but failed to produce points. Then came Ryan Staub, who entered late in the second quarter and lit up the scoreboard, instantly becoming the fan favorite. By Week 3, Staub was the guy until he wasn't. Against Houston, the redshirt sophomore had moments where he looked like the future of the program, including a 2-minute drill in the second quarter where he connected on strikes of 36 and 25 yards before rushing for a 19-yard touchdown. But for every flash of brilliance, there was a misread, an overthrown ball, or a drive-killing mistake. The result? More questions than answers, and a locker room filled with 2 highly recruited quarterbacks, Salter and Lewis, stuck on the sidelines, watching their frustration grow with every series. Coach Prime takes the heat. For all his bravado, Deion Sanders didn't deflect after the loss. He faced the cameras and admitted what everyone saw. Ryan, Staub didn't play well. I saw what you saw, Sanders told reporters. He didn't stop there. I have no idea right now. I'm trying to self-analyze what I can do better. It was a rare moment of vulnerability from the man known as Coach Prime. Sanders has built a reputation as a motivator, an innovator, and a straight-talker. But Friday night's comments hinted at a coach who knows his program is at a crossroads. Offensive breakdown. When nothing works. If there was one stat that summed up Colorado's night, it was this: 4 for 14 on third downs, and not a single conversion on third and long. The run game was practically non-existent, just 60 yards on 21 carries, with 38 coming on one single play. That means Colorado averaged barely 1 yard per carry on their other 20 attempts. The offensive line was manhandled from the opening snap, allowing 3 sacks and constant pressure that forced Staub into hurried throws. Receivers Joseph Williams and Amarian Miller had miscommunications that turned potential completions into incompletions, killing drives before they could gain traction. Even when Staub had a clean pocket, the timing wasn't there. By the second half, the Buffs looked defeated, not just physically but mentally. Houston exploits every weakness. Houston, on the other hand, looked like a well-oiled machine. Quarterback Connor Weigman was nearly flawless, throwing for 222 yards, rushing for 83, and scoring 2 rushing touchdowns. His dual-threat ability kept Colorado's defense guessing all night, and every time the Buffs looked like they might get a stop, Weigman extended the drive with a scramble or a clutch throw. Running back Dean Connors gashed Colorado for 89 yards and a score, repeatedly breaking tackles and exploiting poor pursuit angles from the linebackers. The Cougars converted key third downs, maintained possession for most of the second half, and turned the game into a slow, methodical dismantling. Defensive meltdown, 431 yards allowed. Colorado's defense wasn't just overmatched, it was overwhelmed. They surrendered 431 total yards, with 209 coming on the ground. And those numbers don't even capture the eye test, which was far worse. Missed tackles? Check. Poor lane discipline? Check. Communication breakdowns that led to big plays? Double check. The most painful sequence came in the fourth quarter when Stephon Johnson burned the secondary for a 54-yard touchdown strike from Weigman, a play that symbolized just how overmatched the Buffs were. The defensive struggles were compounded by injuries. Colorado was missing 9 players, including key starters along the defensive line and secondary. This forced backups into extended action, and as the game wore on, fatigue set in. By the third quarter, Houston was dictating tempo and running at will. Nil fallout, a star power void. Beyond the X's and O's, Colorado is facing a different kind of challenge, a brand power problem. Last season, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter were nil juggernauts, dominating headlines and setting financial records. Shedeur's $6.5 million valuation made him the highest-earning college athlete in the country, helping Colorado stay at the forefront of national conversation. Now, not a single Buffalo is in the top 15 for nil valuation. Offensive tackle Jordan Seaton is the leader with $1.6 million, ranking just 26th nationally. The lack of star power is already affecting recruiting momentum and the team's ability to stay relevant in the cutthroat nil marketplace. Locker room dynamics, tension rising. The quarterback situation is doing more than just hurting Colorado on the field. It's straining the locker room. Salter and Lewis, 2 talented quarterbacks with very different skill sets, are waiting for their opportunity. But every week that goes by without clarity is another week of frustration. Players aren't speaking out publicly yet, but social media is filled with speculation about possible transfers if the situation doesn't stabilize soon. For a program still building depth, losing a high-profile QB to the portal would be a devastating blow. Fan reaction, from hype to harsh reality. Buffs fans who sold out Folsom Field last season and turned Boulder into a college football epicenter are starting to voice their frustration. Reddit threads were filled with harsh takes after the Houston loss, with many questioning Deion Sanders' decision-making and play calling. Some fans are calling for a return to Salter, arguing that his dual-threat ability would give the offense a spark. Others are pushing for Lewis, believing that if the future is going to be rough, it might as well be used to develop the 5-star freshman. Looking ahead, the BYU test. There's no time to wallow. BYU is coming to town next, and the Cougars bring one of the most physical offensive lines in the country. If Colorado's defensive front doesn't find answers, and fast, it could be another long day at Folsom Field. The pressure is officially on Deion Sanders. His ability to rally this team, stabilize the QB position, and restore belief will be tested like never before. The honeymoon period is over. Now comes the grind, the part where a program proves whether it's built to last.